I do have a problem with these OnlyFans models coming to Christ, but it actually has nothing to do with these women that are giving their life to God. It has to do with the Christians, and you know who I'm talking about, the Christians who go into their comment sections and absolutely try and destroy them and try and deter them from walking with God. One of the main reasons they are doing it is because there's a lot of envy in their heart. I'm sure you know who Nala is, the red-haired chick that actually recently gave her life to God. She recently met Cliff. I remember when she posted the video that she got baptized, gave her life to Christ. I'm pretty sure it had a lot of love, but when you opened up the comment section, there were thousands upon thousands upon thousands of comments of dudes. Keep in mind now, these are guys with cross-profile pictures or Bible verses in their bio or Christ is Lord in their bio saying, God won't forgive you, you're used goods. Which, by the way, you know how diabolical and chronically online you have to be to tell somebody they're used goods? Do you know how diabolical that is? The reason I say a lot of those people in that comment section have envy towards these people is because it's actually a parable straight out of the Bible. I believe it's in Luke chapter 15. Pretty much there's these two sons that are blessed by their father with all of these gifts, all of this money, and the two sons basically walk down different paths. One stays on the farm, stays close to his dad, and the other one, the prodigal son, goes off and becomes a degenerate. He goes and parties and hooks up with a bunch of women, all that. And eventually he runs out of money. He realizes that he's just in a horrible place and he wants to come back to his father, but he's almost dreading the idea of going back to it because he believes that his father would just reject him, that he won't want him anymore. But when he arrives on the farm, off in the distance, his father sees him and he like sprints out. He's so happy. He's overjoyed with the fact that his son is back. And so they kill a ram or something like that. They have a feast for him to celebrate, and the older brother is incredibly angry about it. And obviously I'm paraphrasing here, but he pretty much says something along the lines of, all this time I obeyed you, I was with you the whole time, yet you never gave me a celebration, you never celebrated me like this. How come he gets it? He didn't do what I did. And every time I hear that parable, I always think about these women that give their life to God. And I'm sure you can kind of see the connection already, but I want to approach it from almost a different angle, right? Because this is something I've noticed through just doing enough content, and part of the drawback of making like Christian content and self-improvement content is the fact that you almost have to kind of be chronically online yourself in order to like keep up with the times, just being honest. But the reason I say there was envy in their heart, these people that leave these hate comments towards these OnlyFans models or these women that used to be in the, you know, the pornography industry or something like that. The reason I say there's envy is because I've seen the comment sections when there's guys in prison who sold, who murdered people, things that are objectively worse than pornography. But people are always overjoyed. Oh, great, they gave their life to the Lord. But now, when it's someone who's in, like, you know, the sex industry or something like that, and they give their life to the Lord, these dudes have a problem with it. Why? Because there's envy in their heart. What is envy? There's something that someone else has that you secretly want, you desire. That could be a situation, an item, it could be a multitude of things. In this case, it's the experience. There's a lot of these men that claim to be Christian that deep in their heart, they're envious because they want to go have those experiences and go hook up and go have fun, and they want to be like the prodigal son. They still want to be able to have the cake and eat it too. And so the fact that they didn't get to do that because they had the revelation of who Christ was, that Christ is king, because they had that revelation earlier on in their lives and they're not doing that stuff, but someone else was, yet they're still going to get to receive the love and the mercy and the grace of God. There's envy there. There's hate there. There's jealousy there. I'm telling you, start paying attention to these videos. Someone that was a murderer or sold drugs or these horrific things, they give their life to the Lord. Everyone's happy about it. The moment it was someone who was in promiscuity, now it's a problem. Why? There's envy in the heart. And you can see this with scripture too, right? Because think about what I was saying with Nala, or you can see it with these other OnlyFans models and such that give their life to the Lord, and all of them are writing hate comments, right? Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth what? Speaks. And now obviously I understand that part of the, I guess you could say like concern, or the reason they're skeptical of it is because it's a radical shift and we don't know if it's genuine. And I understand that point of view. I totally get that. And once again, we can't judge for sure, right? We don't know what's going on between them and God, right? These models and God. Only God judges the heart, but we can base it off of fruits, and that's what really we should be going off of. But you can tell where your heart is at towards these people, or where your heart is in general, just based off of your first reaction. Was your first reaction to judge them? Or was it almost encouraging? Was it almost like, man, I want to pray for this person just so that hopefully they continue to grow with God? And just to kind of stay on the topic with the prodigal son, I think the other thing that everyone seems to be forgetting, like these dudes in these comment sections that really just hate on these women that tell them they're used goods and no one will love them, all this different type of stuff. I think one of the other things that clearly they're forgetting is that none of us are deserving of salvation. They hold it over these people's heads like they're somehow better. It's a self-righteous thing. Just because you found the Lord before someone does not not make you better. Everything about your salvation wasn't even done by you. You know what's crazy? The only thing you really contribute to your own salvation, because Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9, it is by the grace of God through faith in Jesus Christ, not by your own works or doing, so that way no man can boast. The only thing you really contributed to your own salvation was falling short. It was sinning. So the only thing you contributed to your salvation was making yourself not worthy. And you're actually going to try and flaunt it over somebody else. And there's a lot of guys that will be pressed at this video. I don't really care, because there's a lot of guys that would be like, oh yeah, but if I was in that situation, I wouldn't do that. Here's the thing. You probably would. Let's run this down. Let's all be really, let's be full of some humility. Let's put ourselves in someone else's shoes, right? Especially as dudes, because we just won't have this opportunity. This is not something that happens for men. But let's put it in the, let's flip the roles, and let's imagine as a dude, you could start an OnlyFans account, right? And you're good enough looking that all of the women are going to just absolutely obsess over you. They're going to give you money just to look at you. Some of these top OnlyFans models make what? $40 million a year. I'm just being real that if you put most dudes in their situation where every woman would want to be with them, they make $40 million a year doing this. $40 million a year doing this. All of the validation that comes from online, all the pictures that you post, like really, like put yourself in their shoes, right? You're a young person. Your life could be completely transformed. You could have everything on easy mode for doing OnlyFans. Now, dudes, it's hard for us to kind of like conceptualize what that would be like, because it doesn't happen for men, right? If you have any ounce of humility, when you start to analyze that, you're gonna be like, yeah, I'd probably do it too. Someone offers you $40 million a year, and all of that attention and all of that validation, all of the most beautiful women in the world, I don't know, the richest women in the world, if we're just using, if we're just flipping sides, but you know what I'm talking about. You're telling me you wouldn't do it? Let's just be real. But regardless, even if somehow you think you still wouldn't do it, cool, let's just continue to operate from this. Why on earth would we be telling somebody that they're too far gone for God to help them? That is absurd. Here's the other thing too. This is going to make some people mad, but I've said this in videos before. I'll say it again. When someone sins, like these women that are in the pornography industry and stuff like that, the sin that they're committing is the same sin that you're committing when you watch pornography. And a lot of these men that hate on these women, that leave these hate comments, that tell them that Christ won't love them, that they're used goods, all of this different type of stuff, they watch pornography last week. It's the same sin. So the only difference is they traded the walk with God, or where they currently are at with God, for the actual money, the attention, the actual sex. You traded it for pixels on a screen. That's the crazy part. So you betrayed God in the same way, but you actually did it for less. So in a lot of ways, I would argue yours is even worse. You traded your walk with God. You traded staying out of the sin. Like, let's just keep it a bean to touch to touch yourself. That's what you did. And let's take it even a step further. You would have done the same things they did, probably even worse. Your body count. How many times have you relapsed and watched in your life? A couple hundred times, a couple thousand times. So every single one of those times, you were willing to betray God for pixels on a screen. If we were to throw those women that were in those videos in front of you in real life and they wanted to do it, you would have. So you would have an even higher body count, an even more promiscuous past than all of these women, given the opportunity. The only difference is you didn't have the opportunity to fall into the sin that they did, which is exactly why I gave that analogy of if we put you in their shoes and you were offered all that money and all that opportunity and all that attention, you would fall into it too. I'm not saying that just to like try and irk you or something like that. I'm saying because if you're willing to, and this is not condemnation, right? This is supposed to be conviction, because this is supposed to be iron sharpens iron, right? Brothers lifting up brothers. This is Christ-focused self-improvement. If you were willing to betray God for pixels on a screen, you damn sure would be willing to portray God for all of that. All of this hate for no reason. Just hate in your heart for what? For what? Because someone else, like, do you understand that, there's a verse, I'm pretty sure, that says that heaven rejoices when, someone else accepts the gift of salvation when they come to Christ. Why are you not as excited? A lot of Christians, very religious, prideful Christians, are more concerned with being right than they are righteous. And if you were really as righteous as you claim, you would be overjoyed that they came to the Lord. You would be overjoyed. You'd be praying for them. You'd be speaking life towards them, because Proverbs 18:21, the power of life and death are both in the tongue, and you will eat the fruits thereby of. The red pill community, the more I realized after I got out of it, I watched the stuff from the time I was like 16, 17, maybe a little bit when I was 18. It's full of hate. That's what it is. It is a hateful community. They're bitter, they're resentful, and they put their insecurities onto their viewers is what they do, which is exactly why you feel inadequate unless you make six figures, if you're jacked, if you're this tall, if you dress this way, if you drive this car. It's just insecurities that they've projected onto you, but now I'm getting into a different video. So Christ-focused self-improvement is what I teach. Down in the description, I'll have my free guide on how you can quit pornography. 100% free. It's a community that you can come join, our school community. So I'll leave that below. Subscribe, like. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.